Speaker's Corner. Hatun, an evangelist, an apologist, was stabbed today at Speaker's Corner. And just to send our love to Hatun, I'll be sending a message to her on WhatsApp to make sure she's okay. But just to say, Hatun, hope you're okay, and just to say that you're in our prayers and we love you, and you're loved by many, many, many hundreds, if not thousands, of people around the world. So we hope you're okay, and hope you're feeling better soon. But a couple of things. There'll be Muslim apologists making video responses denouncing this violence, this attack upon Hatun. So a number of Muslim apologists will be doing this, and if not, they've already done it. But it's too little too late, because these kind of attacks have been going on at Speaker's Corner for quite some time. And the Muslim apologists have kept quiet and not said anything, but now they want to suddenly speak out because it's quite dramatic what happened today. So it's too little, too soon. You should have done it many, many months, if not years ago, condemning this kind of violence. When you know, there was a preacher that was kicked off his ladder a few years ago, an ex-Muslim, and there've been a number of attacks upon ex-Muslims at Speaker's Corner, and Muslim apologists have refused to speak out. Secondly, a number of Muslim apologists at Speaker's Corner are in contact and support Islamic extremism, and nothing's ever done about it, and these Muslim apologists do not denounce these Islamic extremists. They're sympathizers, and if they do say something behind the scenes in the messaging together, the chats together, they quite clearly support Islamic extremism. And the British government have not done anything about it, and the Muslim apologists have not come clean about it. And this has been going on for quite a few years now. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the police response. Watching the video, I did think the police response was pretty poor. Number one, they knew an attack was imminent, so, you know. So they weren't, they're not proactive. They should have plainclothes officers there. They have them there for spying on people for other things, so why not there to make sure that Hatun was okay? So there was a neglect by the police in looking after Hatun. They knew an attack was imminent. They should have had surveillance cameras on her. They should have been watching out for her. But they were caught sleeping. So as police officers, you failed in your duty. And then when you did turn up on the scene, I'm afraid that, you know, don't any of you have any first aid training? Because the way you were dealing with her, she had blood down her face, she'd have been stabbed, and you walk her to the police van, three of you, and, you know, I don't know whether you forgot your first aid manual, but you weren't there really in a very supportive role, to be honest. But the main issue here, is what's going to happen in the future. We've moved into communism where our free speech has gone in UK and the West. And this is another nail in the coffin, because what are the police and the authorities going to do? the high probability what they will do is get rid of Hatun. They will push her to side and say, you can't go to Speaker's Corner, you're a danger to yourself, and there'll be a breach of the peace, so you shouldn't go there. But what about the thug that did it? What about the thugs that sympathize with the person, the guy who stabbed her? Why isn't it not they're going to be penalized? Why is it the lawful abiding person who's trying to exercise their free speech, why is it that they are penalized? And we're seeing this throughout the whole Western Hemisphere, that the police take the easy road out. There'll be a crowd of people, say, who are vying for the individual. It might be a street preacher, a political activist, and they're in danger, so they get rid of the individual and they don't deal with the crowd that are violent. And so free speech just goes through the window. So I think what's going to happen with Hatun is the authorities. Hello, Frank. God bless you. What's going to happen is the authorities are going to clamp down upon people like Hatun. Anybody who's controversial, anybody who's got something really to say, they're going to clamp down on them because they don't want any trouble. But that's the problem. The problem is that the thug that did this and the thugs behind him, they're the ones that should be penalized. And, you know, I think that God bless you, Oscar. I think that the problem is that we have a police force and a judiciary and politicians that are spineless, that are totally spineless, and that will capitulate to radical Islam. So radical Islam will win. And the issue here is, not many people know this, but maybe some do. And I only recently found out this about Hatun. I only recently found out about this about Hatun, and maybe some of you knew this, but some of her family, close relatives, were murdered by Islamic extremists. So those who criticize Hatun when she's put the t-shirt on and mocking Muhammad and everything, just remember that she had her family killed. She had some of her family killed in Pakistan. So what she's trying to warn Britain, she's trying to warn Britain that this is coming to Britain, that we're going to lose our free speech in Britain because of radical Islam. And she's proved the point. She's won the point. She's won the argument, because our free speech is about to go. If they push Hatun out of the park, she's won the argument. Islam has won. Radical Islam. I won't say it's radical Islam, I'd just say it's Islam, to be honest. But, you know, radical Islam. The radical Islamists. They've won. So we not only got the COVID-19 bureaucrat communist wokites who are off their head on power, on a power grab. We've got the rise of Islam that has basically taken over part of the free speech in our country. The police, you get paid your salary, and you do what the government tells you to do, but you made an oath to uphold the law fairly. But you won't uphold the law fairly for Hatun. Her free speech will go. So this is a very, very sad day for Britain. And it's another nail in the coffin of our free speech, because they will get rid of Hatun after this now. Make no words about it. They will not let her go to Speaker's Corner. They will come up with every health and safety, COVID-19, whatever. They'll come up with every excuse to stop her from coming to Speaker's Corner. And so the mob rules as usual. The thugs rule as usual. So I think everybody who believes in freedom, I think everybody who believes in freedom, I think everybody, this is not just about Islam. This is about the freedom of our democracy in Britain. It's about our freedom of speech in Britain. And enough's enough. Too much erosion of our freedom has gone. And there has to be a line in the sand, and there has to be a willing to fight back and defend our freedom. There should be a march on Parliament because of this attack on Hatun. And there should be a call for an inquiry into the police negligence of not protecting her. There should be an inquiry into why there weren't plainclothes police officers, why there weren't surveillance cameras on her, why they haven't dealt with this issue of threats on her life. There should be a march on Parliament, and there should be an insistence that she have a right to free speech without any qualms whatsoever. Parliament should know the full force of the British public, that whether you agree with Hatun or not, she has the right to say what she feels she should say. It is the guy said it's not the right of the police to give her protection. It is the right of every individual to be able to have freedom of speech under the law, and it is the duty of every police officer to protect the public so that the public can go about their rightful business. So it is the job of the police. If the police know that your house is going to be attacked and they don't put a guard there, it's the police's fault. And it's the police's fault that allowed this attack. The police are to blame. The local MP, the mayor of London, they are to blame, because they should have had somebody there to make sure she was okay. They should have had cameras on her. They should have had plainclothes police officers there. They knew she was in danger. And the mercy is she could have had her head cut off. She could have had her head cut off. It could have been another Charlie Hebdo time. Head cut off. She could have been machine gunned. The police car was designated for Hatun. Well, the police car did not turn up on time, did it? Because she got stabbed. But make no bones about it. Every single one of you have got to start standing up for your freedoms. Because it's time to make a stand. And if you don't make a stand, it'll be you next. All right? It'll be you next. When good men keep silent, then evil reigns. And evil is reigning in the UK. We're almost in a time of martial law. The British government are thinking of sending in the army to put on the streets. They're thinking of putting the army in Australia on the streets. We've gone beyond censorship. We're moving into martial law. And on top of that, we have the problem of Islamic extremism. People have to make a stand for freedom, the freedom of speech. You've got to start speaking out. You've got to start speaking out about the importance of freedom of speech. If freedom of speech goes, and it's gone already, freedom of speech has gone already in Britain. And if it's gone, you're heading for civil war, because if people can't talk and discuss and debate without being in a cancel culture, then war's coming, because people are going to fight rather than debate and discuss. So, if we can't debate and discuss, we're going into the jungle. We're going into the beast mentality. Speaker's Corner is key to British life and culture, because it encouraged people to debate and discuss. And if you can't bring in difficult issues to discuss, but you're going to knife somebody, if Islam is so weak that it can't take critical assessment, then we're heading for the jungle. We're heading for more and more violence in the country. People have to be able to discuss and debate and argue, and if they can't do that, then they should forget being in the UK. They should go somewhere else. Rip up their British passport and go somewhere else, or don't come to Britain. But Britain should be a place where we can dialogue and debate, and if we can't dialogue and debate and discuss difference of opinions, even very difficult, then we're heading for civil war. Not only in Britain, but Australia and Canada and America. We have to be able to debate and discuss and be critical of one another. I don't like atheists attacking the Christian faith. I don't like Muslims attacking the Christian faith, but I'm willing to debate and discuss them, and I respect their opinion. So we've got to be willing to discuss and debate. We've got to be willing to discuss and debate. So it's no good Mansour, it's no good Muhammad Hijab, it's no good Ali Dawah, it's no good Hamza and all these Muslim apologists who behind the scenes are clearly supporting of Hamas, which is an organization deemed terrorist by the British government. They all support Hamas. They all think Hamas is wonderful. So behind the scenes, these Muslim apologists, they support Hamas, and yet they're going to make videos condemning the attack upon Hatun. I'm sorry, it doesn't wash. It doesn't wash. You debate with one hand, but you have a sword in the other, is not debate. It's not debate, folks. It's not debate. You Muslims have got to decide, when Islam began, did it begin with debate? Tell me. Tell me. When Islam started, did it begin with debate? Did it begin with arguments? Did it begin with preaching? Or were there battles? There were battles fought. Well, in Britain, we don't enter into battles and fighting in order to win an argument. We use reason and logic and evidence, and that's the way it's got to be. If you can't beat Hatun in argument and debate, then go home. But to stab a small, weak woman whose family had been killed, some of her family had been killed, close family by the way, very, very close family, killed by Islamic extremists in Pakistan. A small woman, frail woman, you can't debate her and beat her. You've got to stab her. With blood coming down her face here and holding her stomach. I can see all you Muslims have gone quiet now, haven't you? You've gone very, very quiet now. Very, very quiet. Yeah? Where's your manhood now? Where's your manhood now? A small woman gets stabbed. Yeah, that's not manly, is it? Yeah? So, Mansour and Hamza, Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawah, and all these people, they can make their videos condemning this. But behind the scenes, they support Hamas, which it doesn't wash. Britain's in a moral crisis. She's in a mess. Our freedom of speech is gone. You police officers, you've precipitated the downfall of Britain by encouraging the loss of our freedom of speech. The judiciary, the MPs, our politicians, you've handed over to these COVID-19 communist fanatics Islamic extremism put in the melting pot as well, and our freedom of speech has gone. We're in a crisis, and Britain will be heading for civil war one day. We've got to come back to respecting one another. We respect each other. I don't agree with what you think or what you say or what you do. Don't agree, but I respect you. And it's about respect, respecting one another, and being able to have a dialogue and a discussion. And if we can't respect one another, and if we can't dialogue, but we've got to stab someone, then we've lost the argument. And we're in the jungle. And it's no good the police officers taking side of those who stab. It's no good the police officers and the judiciary taking the side of the cancel culture. People have got to be free to dialogue and debate, critique, sit down with one another. It's only then that we learn to grow, that we learn to understand each other, that we learn to appreciate each other, that we can treat each other as human beings with love and respect. But this cancel culture, this COVID-19 Stasi life that we're in, where we can't even say anything or else we're cancelled, this wokeite culture that you can't say anything or you'll be taken off Facebook and YouTube, and this Islamic extremism where you get stabbed and the police take the side of those who stabbed rather than the victim. I'm sorry. That's a recipe for civil war. It's a recipe for producing more violence, because it's not teaching people to sit down, debate, discuss, dialogue, and respect each other and have strong disagreements. To be real men and women who can strongly disagree but still love each other and respect each other. So we have a choice to make. Continue cancel culture, continue to support this Stasi COVID-19, you can't say anything or you're thrown off Facebook or whatever. Continue to allow Islamic extremism to get its way, and you're heading for civil war, because people won't be able to talk and say their point of opinion, and they'll get angry and then they'll start being violent. That's what happened in Sydney the other day. People were sick and tired of being cancelled and they threw bottles at the police. I don't advocate it, but that's what you're creating that culture, that civilization of anger and frustration because people are not allowed to speak. I've warned about this many times, but the authorities will not listen. They continue on the wokeite agenda. And it'll be to the death of the establishment. The establishment will come and they will experience civil unrest and violence like Ukraine when the Ukrainian people rebelled against the authorities. That will come to the police. It will come to the British establishment one day if they continue to do this and stop people having their freedoms. Encourage Hatun to have her freedom. Encourage Muslims to sit down with her and debate and discuss with her. And then when they finish, be respectful. And that will produce much better fruit in this land of Great Britain. God bless you.